tsunami of supersized American-style pickup trucks are hitting Melbourne roads as sales reach record levels, but some fed-up drivers say the vehicles have no place down under.
The most trusted trucks in America turned out to be deadly mistakes. For decades, names like Ford and Chevy built their reputations on toughness, but buried beneath the ads and the loyalty were design flaws, breakdowns, and safety failures that owners never saw coming. These weren't just trucks, they were ticking disasters waiting for the right mileage. Which legendary models betrayed the drivers who believed in them? Why were the dangers ignored for so long? And how much could owning one really cost you? Ford F-150. When talking about pickup trucks, it is impossible not to bring up the Ford F-150. For decades, this full-size truck has carried the title of America's best-selling vehicle, with millions of loyal buyers who swear by its strength, versatility, and iconic status. Generations of drivers grew up riding in one, hauling equipment, towing trailers, or simply enjoying the rugged look that became symbolic of American roads. However, even legends stumble, and the Ford F-150 from the model year 2010 is a prime example of how a celebrated name can go terribly wrong. Beneath its shiny exterior and Ford's marketing confidence, this particular version turned out to be riddled with flaws, earning it a spot on the list of the worst pickup trucks only a careless buyer would purchase. One of the most notorious issues with the 2010 Ford F-150 was its engine performance. Many drivers reported hearing persistent ticking or knocking noises, especially at higher mileage. This was not simply an annoyance, it often signaled deeper mechanical issues that could lead to costly repairs. The three-valve V8 engines of that period were infamous for cam phaser failures. When this problem emerged, the truck's idle became rough, acceleration grew sluggish, and the overall driving experience turned stressful. Owners would often face repair bills running into several $1,000s, and in many cases, the only solution was a complete engine overhaul. For a vehicle marketed as the dependable backbone of America, this was a bitter disappointment. Transmission troubles were another major weakness of the 2010 model year. Numerous drivers described gear slipping, hard shifting, and delayed engagement when switching between drive and reverse. These problems not only reduced the truck's reliability, but also posed real safety risks when merging onto highways or maneuvering in traffic. Some drivers even experienced complete transmission failure at relatively low mileage, an outcome that transformed what should have been a long-lasting workhorse into an expensive garage ornament. Beyond the mechanical failures, the 2010 Ford F-150 shocked owners with an unusual defect: rear windows shattering without warning, sometimes while parked, leaving dangerous glass fragments and costly repairs. This bizarre issue, combined with already disappointing reliability, deepened concerns. Safety ratings, while not the worst, still fell short of expectations for America's most trusted truck, undermining confidence among families and workers alike. A pickup is supposed to guarantee strength and peace of mind, yet this model year failed to deliver either. Instead, it became a cautionary tale of frustration, financial strain, and broken promises. As we close the chapter on this disappointing model, remember that sometimes reputation alone is not enough to guarantee a good purchase. If the 2010 F-150 was a reminder that legends can fail, the next entry on our list shows how even Chevrolet's pride and joy carried explosive consequences that shocked buyers and mechanics alike. Chevrolet Silverado. Few pickup trucks carry the same kind of cultural weight as the Chevrolet Silverado. For generations, it has been marketed as the dependable work partner of farmers, contractors, and ordinary drivers who simply wanted a reliable machine to haul and tow without worry. Chevrolet poured countless resources into building the Silverado brand into a symbol of durability, strength, and long-term loyalty. By the time the 2014 Silverado rolled onto dealer lots, expectations were sky-high. Unfortunately, instead of upholding the reputation built over decades, this particular model became a troubling chapter in the Silverado story, riddled with dangerous flaws that would haunt many owners. The first major issue that tainted the 2014 Chevrolet Silverado was its tendency to catch fire. This is not an exaggeration or a scare tactic. Reports began surfacing almost immediately after its release of Silverados, suddenly going up in flames. The cause of these fires was traced to a defective oil transmission cooling line. When this line failed, oil leaked directly onto hot engine components, creating the perfect recipe for combustion. Owners who expected a truck tough enough to handle long hauls instead faced the nightmare of their vehicle bursting into flames without warning. For a company that had long sold the Silverado on its rugged dependability, the optics could not have been worse. worse. The nightmare did not stop with oil line issues. Some owners reported complete engine failure due to overheating. A particularly frightening problem occurred when the Silverado's exhaust system overheated, melting nearby plastic components, including intake manifolds and fuel system parts. In some cases, this led to full-scale explosions, reducing one of America's favorite trucks into a dangerous liability. Imagine investing tens of thousands of dollars into what was supposed to be a reliable workhorse, only to watch it self-destruct due to poor engineering oversight. Reliability was supposed to be the Silverado's calling card, but the 2014 model also suffered from a slew of smaller yet infuriating problems. Owners complained about electrical glitches, malfunctioning air conditioning systems, faulty seat heaters, and erratic gauges on the dashboard. While not as dramatic as spontaneous fires, these issues chipped away at the Silverado's image of trustworthiness. Trucks are meant to last for years, enduring punishing roads and heavy loads, but many Silverado owners found themselves visiting repair shops again and again for problems that should never have existed in the first place. Consumer confidence in the Chevrolet Silverado collapsed when independent reports and reliability studies ranked the 2014 model below average, shocking critics and loyal buyers alike. Brand devotion has limits, and for many, this truck was the breaking point as repair costs and frustrations mounted. Safety compounded the outrage, since driving a vehicle known for catching fire at highway speeds is terrifying, especially for families who expected dependability. Trust evaporated quickly, leaving regret in its place. The 2014 Silverado ultimately proved that even a legacy name can crumble under poor engineering and overlooked safety flaws. As the story of the Silverado shows, even legends of the road can go down in flames, sometimes literally. Yet Chevrolet's struggles are not the only tale of disappointment, because if the Silverado proved that fire can consume a reputation, the next entry reveals how Ford's attempt at building a smaller, affordable truck turned into a tragedy of high fatality rates and dangerous design flaws. If you've made it this far, you clearly care about avoiding mistakes. Drop a comment below with the worst truck experience you've ever had, and don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps others discover this video. Ford Ranger. Every automaker has a moment where one of its vehicles falls short of expectations, but for Ford, the Ranger models built between the years 2000 and 2005 and 2008 represented more than just disappointment. They represented outright danger for many drivers. Compact pickup trucks have long appealed to buyers who wanted the toughness of a truck without the bulk of a full-size model. The Ford Ranger had carved out a respectable spot in that segment for decades, praised for its affordability and practical size. Yet during this era, the Ranger turned from a budget-friendly workhorse into a machine plagued by reliability problems, mechanical hazards, and tragically high fatality rates. Statistical evidence alone paints a grim picture. According to insurance and safety data, the Ford Ranger models from this period carried one of the highest driver death rates in the compact pickup category. Reports indicated approximately 81 fatalities per million registered vehicles, a staggering number compared to other trucks of similar size. Even more chilling, around 60% of these fatalities came from multi-vehicle collisions. In other words, the Ranger was not simply unsafe when taken on solo drives. It became even deadlier when other vehicles were involved, a terrifying prospect for anyone sharing the road. One of the most infamous issues plaguing the Ranger during these years was the defective speed control deactivation switch. This tiny component was supposed to prevent engine fires, yet ironically, it often did the opposite. Owners reported vehicles igniting even when parked, the result of electrical current running through the switch when it should have been completely shut off. More than one house was tragically destroyed because a Ranger burst into flames while sitting quietly in a garage. The problems did not stop there. The Ranger's fuel filters during this generation were prone to malfunctioning, leading to leaks of gasoline onto hot engine components. As any driver knows, gasoline and heat are a deadly combination. What should have been a dependable compact pickup became a ticking time bomb every time the ignition was turned on. There were also reports of poorly manufactured tires that exploded without warning at high speeds, a problem that turned highway driving into a gamble with one's life. Another terrifying flaw of the Ford Ranger was its defective cruise control module, which sometimes locked into uncontrolled acceleration, sending the truck racing past 120 miles per hour while resisting braking, a nightmare for unsuspecting drivers. Mechanically, the Ranger also lagged behind competitors, with weak suspension, outdated interiors, and minimal comfort. Had it been dependable, such shortcomings might might have been tolerated, but combined with its alarming safety defects, the truck's flaws became unforgivable. The years from 2005 through 2008 remain a dark era, turning an affordable compact pickup into a cautionary tale of danger. If the Ford Ranger teaches us one lesson, it is that affordability without safety is no bargain at all. And while this compact truck may have struggled to stay on the road, our next entry reveals how Dodge managed to release a full-size pickup that looked bold, but delivered nothing but weakness where it mattered most. Dodge Ram 1500. In the world of pickup trucks, appearance can sometimes deceive even the most seasoned buyers. Few examples illustrate this better than the Dodge Ram 1500 from the model year 2010, equipped with the base V6 engine. At first glance, this truck looked every bit a part of a powerful, road-dominating machine. Its broad stance, bold grille, and aggressive styling signaled strength, making it an attractive option for drivers who wanted to project toughness on the road. Yet behind the rugged exterior was a vehicle that failed in some of the most critical areas: power, safety, and efficiency, turning it into one of the most disappointing pickups of its time. The heart of the problem was the V6 engine itself. At 3.7 liters, it promised capability, but in practice it delivered a mere 250 horsepower and 235 pound-feet of torque. These numbers might have sufficed for a sedan or small crossover, but in a full-size pickup truck meant to haul and tow, the output was embarrassingly inadequate. Owners who tried to use the Ram 1500 for real work quickly discovered its limitations. Towing felt strained, acceleration was sluggish, and highway merging became an exercise in patience rather than power. The mismatch between the vehicle's imposing appearance and its underwhelming performance frustrated many who had expected far more. Fuel economy provided no consolation. While some buyers hoped that choosing the V6 over the larger V8 engine would save them money at the pump, real-world numbers proved otherwise. In fact, the difference in gas mileage between the two engines was negligible. Owners soon realized they were sacrificing the extra power of a V8 without gaining any meaningful efficiency. This left the base V6 Ram in an awkward middle ground, not strong enough to satisfy truck needs and not efficient enough to justify its weakness. Safety concerns added to the Dodge Ram 1500's downfall, as crash tests awarded only a 3-star rating in frontal impacts, a shocking result for a truck expected to protect families and workers. Its bold looks quickly lost credibility when paired with real risks and accidents, leaving safety-minded buyers wary. To make matters worse, the base model lacked competitive equipment, offering fewer features, cheaper materials, and less refinement than rivals like the Ford F-150 or Chevrolet Silverado. Ultimately, the 2010 V6 Ram promised toughness, but delivered mediocrity, leaving many owners with regret and costly lessons. As we close the book on the Ram's disappointing performance, the story does not end here, because while Dodge fumbled with power and safety, another automaker introduced a truck that blurred the line between car and pickup, creating a vehicle that was never truly capable of either role. That story awaits in the next chapter. Honda Ridgeline. Not every attempt at innovation leads to success, and the launch of the Honda Ridgeline in the year 2006 is one of the clearest examples of that truth in the pickup truck market. Honda had long been respected for producing reliable sedans, practical hatchbacks, and efficient sport utility vehicles, but stepping into the realm of trucks proved to be far more challenging than expected. The company introduced the Ridgeline with the promise of blending comfort and utility, hoping to carve a niche among buyers who wanted the everyday drivability of a car, combined with the functionality of a truck. Unfortunately, this experiment resulted in a vehicle that pleased very few. It looked different, it performed differently, and in the end, it left many disappointed. The Ridgeline was built with unibody construction rather than the traditional body-on-frame platform used by nearly all other pickup trucks. While this design gave the Ridgeline a smoother ride on pavement, it immediately limited its capacity to handle heavy towing and hauling. Most buyers in the truck market expect to move cargo, pull trailers, or tackle rugged terrain. The 2006 Ridgeline simply could not keep up with such demands. Owners quickly discovered that even moderate towing or hauling caused stress on the vehicle, and its suspension and crossmembers often failed under the strain. The so-called innovation of car-like comfort ended up undermining the very essence of what a pickup should be. Under the hood, the problems continued. The 2006 Ridgeline came equipped with a 3.5-liter V6 engine that produced only 245 pound-feet of torque. For a mid-size sedan, such as the Honda Accord, this engine worked reasonably well, but inside a pickup truck tasked with carrying or towing heavy loads, the output was drastically insufficient. Drivers noticed that the engine had to work harder than it should, often running hot and burning excessive amounts of oil. The result was thick blue smoke from the exhaust and the looming risk of costly engine repairs. Reliability, once a hallmark of Honda, faltered badly in the 2006 Ridgeline. Owners faced suspension failures, uneven tire wear, and persistent electronic malfunctions, turning what should have been a dependable option into a constant frustration. Styling compounded the disappointment. disappointment, with sloping lines and a shallow bed that seemed more symbolic than functional, alienating traditional truck buyers while failing to attract style-focused drivers. Stranded in this awkward middle ground, the Ridgeline never captured lasting loyalty. It promised innovation but lacked strength, promised Honda dependability but delivered breakdowns, and ultimately felt like an overpriced, half-finished idea. As disappointing as the Ridgeline proved to be, the story of poor pickups does not stop with Honda's misstep, because just as Honda fumbled with a car-like truck, Ford stumbled again with a supposed workhorse that carried the label of Super Duty, yet failed to live up to its own name. That tale unfolds in the next chapter. We're closing in on the top 3 worst trucks ever made, but before the big reveal, make sure you subscribe right now. Join our community, hit the bell, and never miss another eye-opening breakdown like this again. Ford F-250. Among the many full-size trucks that Ford has released, few names carry as much weight as the Ford F-250 Super Duty. It has long been marketed as the workhorse of the lineup, a truck that can tow more, haul more, and outlast the competition. Yet beneath the marketing and heavy-duty image lies a truth that many owners learned the hard way. Across various years, the F-250 has been plagued with serious flaws that make it one of the most disappointing pickups a person could buy. Instead of serving as the dependable tool it was designed to be, it often became an endless source of repairs, breakdowns, and frustration. One of the most common complaints about the Ford F-250 involved suspension issues. Despite being advertised as a truck capable of managing extreme loads, the suspension often struggled to handle heavy cargo or towing capacity. Owners reported premature wear on shocks, springs, and linkages, making the truck difficult to control when fully loaded. What should have been a smooth, stable drive often turned into a shaky, unpredictable experience that undermined confidence, especially on highways or uneven terrain. The engine problems were equally notorious. In several model years, the Ford F-250 was offered with V8 engines that developed chronic reliability issues. Spark plug blowouts were a recurring nightmare, especially in the Triton engines of the early 2000s. This defect caused spark plugs to literally eject from the cylinder head while driving, leading to expensive repairs and dangerous roadside situations. Other engines suffered from oil leaks, camshaft failures, and rough idling that left owners constantly battling to keep their trucks running. For a vehicle built on the promise of lasting durability, such flaws were unacceptable. Even more alarming were reports of sudden acceleration and unintended braking. While not universal, enough cases emerged to cause concern. Some drivers described their trucks lurching forward without pressing the gas pedal or braking without input. These malfunctions made the Ford F-250 not just unreliable, but a potential hazard for both the driver and everyone else on the road. Another issue that haunted the Ford F-250 across multiple years was transmission failure. Heavy-duty trucks are expected to endure thousands of miles of towing and hauling, but the F-250's transmissions often faltered prematurely. Owners faced hard shifting, gear slipping, and in worst cases, total breakdowns that left them stranded. Replacing or rebuilding these transmissions cost thousands of dollars, erasing any financial benefit of owning the truck. Beyond mechanical troubles, the Ford F-250 suffered in safety and comfort as well. Crash test results in certain years proved less than stellar, showing that size alone did not guarantee protection. Interiors fell behind rivals, plagued by failing electronics, broken gauges, and weak air conditioning systems, leaving disappointed owners questioning the value of their expensive purchase. The cumulative effect eroded Ford's reputation among loyal buyers. The F-250 was intended as the step-up from the iconic F-150, but instead became a gamble, a truck that sometimes worked yet too often drained wallets, patience, and consumer trust. The Ford F-250 across various years serves as a stark reminder that more size and more power do not automatically mean more reliability. A truck wearing the Super Duty badge should embody strength and trust, yet for many it symbolized stress and regret. If the F-250 proved that even heavy-duty powerhouses could collapse under the weight of their promises, then our final entry takes things to a whole new level. Because the worst truck of all is not simply flawed, it is a modern pickup that betrayed its owners with catastrophic failures almost from the moment it hit the road. That infamous story is revealed in the next and final chapter. GMC Canyon. Sometimes the most disappointing vehicles are not the ones released decades ago, but the ones sold recently with promises of cutting-edge technology and modern dependability. The GMC Canyon from the model year 2019 stands as a prime example of how a modern truck can fail its buyers spectacularly. Marketed as the stylish and dependable mid-size pickup in the General Motors lineup, the Canyon was supposed to bridge the gap between heavy-duty capability and everyday practicality. Yet beneath its sleek appearance and advertising slogans lay a long list of problems that made this truck not just a poor purchase, but one of the worst pickups anyone could bring home. From the beginning, owners noticed troubling issues with the transmission. Instead of providing smooth and predictable gear changes, the 8-speed automatic system system frequently jerked, hesitated, and slipped. Drivers described situations where acceleration lagged dangerously when merging onto highways or pulling into traffic, creating serious safety risks. Some owners reported complete transmission failure before reaching relatively modest mileage, forcing them into expensive repairs or replacements. For a vehicle sold in the 21st century, marketed as reliable transportation, such catastrophic malfunctions were shocking. The problems did not stop with the transmission. The 2019 GMC Canyon developed a reputation for engine troubles, ranging from stalling to total breakdowns. Owners reported that engines sometimes failed to start, misfired during acceleration, or even overheated without warning. In a truck class where reliability is often the deciding factor, the Canyon's unpredictability left drivers stranded and frustrated. Making matters worse, some failures occurred while towing or hauling, precisely the tasks a truck should be able to handle with confidence. Electrical and electronic systems also brought headaches. Faulty sensors triggered warning lights on the dashboard even when nothing was wrong, leaving owners unsure if their trucks were safe to drive. Malfunctions in infotainment systems and navigation software added to the frustrations. Reports also highlighted power steering problems that caused the system to cut out suddenly, making the truck difficult and at times impossible to control. Combined with braking issues such as soft pedals, delayed response, and in some cases complete brake failure, the Canyon quickly earned a reputation as an unsafe and unreliable choice. Safety concerns extended further as critical systems failed across the board. Airbags, one of the most essential protections in any modern vehicle, were reported to malfunction or fail during crashes. Combined with compromised braking and unpredictable steering, the GMC Canyon transformed from disappointment into outright danger for drivers and passengers alike. Independent reviewers such as Consumer Reports noticed, ranking the 2019 Canyon near the bottom of its class. Longtime General Motors customers expressed frustration and regret, while online forums overflowed with stories of failed transmissions, sudden power loss, and brake failures, cementing the Canyon's reputation as unfit for the road. The GMC Canyon from 2019 is a painful reminder that flashy design and modern features mean nothing without solid engineering. Buyers who brought one home often discovered too late that they had invested in a machine destined for the repair shop rather than the open road. For a company as established as General Motors, releasing a truck with such glaring flaws was more than a mistake. It was a betrayal of trust. As the countdown of the worst pickup trucks reaches its conclusion, the GMC Canyon secures the top spot because it symbolizes the danger of assuming that modern equals dependable. While older trucks may falter with age, this one failed almost immediately, leaving owners with regret, financial strain, and more than a few dangerous situations. It is proof that when choosing a truck, reputation and style cannot replace true reliability and safety. And there you have it, the trucks that fooled buyers but couldn't hide the truth. If you found this countdown eye-opening, hit like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe now. More breakdowns are coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss them.